Good morning, Grinders. Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blender at Blender HD. If you want to follow me on Twitter, and it's Wednesday, April 20th. It's 420. It's 420. Apparently that means something to some people. I don't know. I don't smoke pot, so I have no clue what the hell's going on, but feel free to do so. I don't care. It's 420. Have some fun. But we'll be talking about some Major League Baseball, answering some questions in the YouTube chat. I see you guys in there. Mart's Mimic, real life pitcher, Suki Singh, third today. Gotta get up a little bit earlier. Infamous Tuck, Doug Montgomery, Hog Lawrence, Eric Brunick. Good morning. Good morning. Give me those thummy thumbs. Thummy thumbs in the morning. Hit the thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Hit the button. Helps us out. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live on the channel. Last night's slate, yesterday's slate, nothing happened. It just felt like, is there any team on the slate that's going to put up like runs? Are they going to be home runs? Are they going to be? I mean, how many home runs were there yesterday? There weren't many. I mean, let's see. I mean, let's see MLB schedule. Can we see that from yesterday? Like, how many home runs were yesterday? Like, there weren't much. I mean, I could just go through from what not obviously not in the games that weren't on the slate. So, and of course the Nationals doubled. The Nationals Diamondbacks, nothing happened anyway. Red Sox Blue Jays. What did anyone? Oh, Zach Collins hit a home run. Okay, so there's one. Brewers Pirates. Did anyone hit a home run? Who for the Tellez? Didn't Tellez hit a home run? Okay, there's one. There's two. I don't think anyone from the Rays hit. Wander Franco hit a home run, and Patrick Wisdom, I believe. Okay, so there's two. If there, Angels. Who hit for the Angels? The Astros. I mean, let's look at these scores. It's just like no one scored over 6 runs on the FanDuel slate. Well, I'm drafting slate also because the Diamondbacks Nationals game. So what? 5 runs for the Brewers, 6 for the Rays, 5 for the Cubs, 7 for the Angels. Rockies 6, Phillies 5, Padres 6, Mariners 6. Like 5-man stacks. Probably not going to cut it in a lot of these games. So a lot of weird mishmash lineups towards the top. On FanDuel, at least. On FanDuel was a lot of just like 2-1-1-2 is the Dean special up there. But on DraftKings a level less so. The winning lineup had 4-man Rockies, 4-2-2. 2 Twins, 2 Rays. Yes, Salvador Perez hit 2 home runs yesterday. Wasn't even in the winning large field GPP lineup. I guess that's how low owned he was. Let's see. Okay, 2.6% owned. Right. So second place still had a 2 and a 3. Right. First place had Connor Joe with 3 points. Did anyone do anything in the outfield yesterday? Seemed like let's see. Let's go over here. Tommy Pham, but he's 2% owned. Here's Tampa. Jonah Don on DraftKings because he was available. On FanDuel, they didn't have that game on the slate. Right, the pitching came through. Burns and Musgrove, pretty much, right? Right here, look, just like nothing in the outfield. Right, here's a Colorado 4-3-1, 3-3 something or other. There, and that's a Rinpack. Yeah, okay, here's a 5-3 Braves Rockies. Okay. And you didn't really need much out of the outfield. Right? You got Darno. Albies, Riley, Arcia at 1.6% owned. There you go. You got enough points. That's it. That's all you needed. You didn't need much. The Colts over here, same thing. 5-man Brave stack. Kyle Schwarber, 21 points. Only 5% owned for the Phillies. And the Phillies were chalky. It's that lefty on lefty, right? Oh, Kyle Freeland can't play Schwarber. He's batting sixth or whatever, right? Let's see. Going through here. I'm just getting distracted because another fight is being put on the MMA card. They got Preston Parsons got a new opponent, Evan Elder, right? Because we went from this 11 MMA, now it's going to be like 13, I believe, right? They're adding another. The two fights got canceled, but they're getting replacements or whatever. So I'm happy to see that instead of having an 11 fight card. I think Romanoff is getting Chase Sherman. We'll be talking about that on Friday, I guess. So Eric Brunick says 16 total home runs all day yesterday. Okay. All day yesterday, which include games that, the earlier games. The humidor strikes again, Shannon Lambert says. Home runs are way down this year. It's likely not the humidor, probably a dead ball. And Ryan Murner says most weather this time of year is in the 40s and 50s. That's correct, but Derek Carty has done the weather-adjusted analysis, the weather and ballpark adjusted analysis, and in the first 3 weeks of the season, it's been 2 weeks, compared to other 2-week periods, the home runs are down. That's adjusting for weather and ballpark. So even take out the weather, take out the temperatures or whatever, that there should be more home runs. Not dramatically more, but there should be more. But yeah, so the stack still kind of got up there. Score Patrol, okay, what did score? Oh, got the Angels. The Angels were like, no, look at this lineup. No one had the Angels, right? Suzuki, Duffy, Rendon, Ward, Adele, and then 2 Rays and Rhys Hoskins. And then you still had Burns and Musgrove. I had a lot of these types of lineups on FanDuel. Guys that are 1% owned, right? Burns and Musgrove, 52%, 49%, right? So it was more about taking the yesterday, just 2 best pitchers, grind, and then just find anything other than Coors, other than Colorado, because really the Philly stack didn't get there, right? We take a look at the top 1% of lineups. Castellanos, Hoskins, Segura, Harper, Real Muto were the 4 highest owned batters. And Real Muto is the only one that's appeared in more than a significant amount of 1%, top 1% lineups. And that's primarily because he's a catcher and he scored 15 points. We take a look through all these, like Machado's hitting very well, right? CJ Cron, 39, right? If you had Colorado, that's a little bit better. And then the Braves was just so cheap yesterday, even against Walker Buehler. Sorry, Albies, 26% of the top lineups. Riley, 19% of the top lineups. The Braves were like 1% owned on FanDuel. I had some good Braves 4-man stacks going on FanDuel. Didn't all the way get there. Also, I had like Nathan Eovaldi in those lineups, so not Burns. So I don't think it wouldn't have gotten to the top anyway. Just going through, taking a look, see, compare exposures. If we look across, like Robbie Ray really didn't get there. His velocity is down like 1 or 2 miles an hour. He only had 4 strikeouts. I played a lot of Texas against him. That didn't really get there. And nothing really got there. I'm saying, well, that didn't really get there. Well, no stacks really got there. Royals, even if you had Royal stacks, you had 2 Perez home runs, and then what else? Not much else. So looking across the board at like the Phillies ownership, nothing absurd. Still, a lot of people playing chalk, right? Because they still projected so much higher than other teams. You see, RBX just said, I'm just jamming in the Phillies. Probably lost a bunch. Right? Even Brick 75, playing a ton of Phillies. Me, you know what I did on FanDuel? I just X'd them out. Just X'd them out altogether. Nope, no Phillies. I played a lot of Red Sox and Rockies. The Red Sox didn't get there. Rockies did, pretty much. But I also was under the field on Burns on FanDuel. I mean, I still had like 27% or something. I think it was like 30-something% owned. Yeah, Burns, Musgrove. I mean, what are we going to learn from yesterday? If you played mishmash lineups, if you played 2-1-1-3-2, something like that, you had a better chance. Because like no team scored that many runs. Real life pitcher asks if did I play the Jesus stack on Sunday? No, I didn't even play on Sunday, so no, I don't even know what you're talking about. And Tube Sox asked if I'm playing USFL this week. No, I didn't play last week, and I'm not. But I'll play soccer. I play soccer today. We got a 4-game EPL slate at 2:45 Eastern. I got MMA and soccer on Saturdays. I don't need USFL. Play baseball during the week, right? That's what I do Monday through Friday. You play baseball, right? MLB. Saturday is soccer and MMA, and Sunday is relax. And if I get up early enough, maybe I play Sunday baseball. Maybe. Not saying that I sleep until noon, but it depends on if I feel like it, right? You wake up at around 11 or so, and it's like, God, do I 1 o'clock locked or something for baseball? Do I want Sunday baseball? And I just, whatever. So Saturdays, I'll get up early, right? So like Monday through Friday, I get up early for me. I stay up late. I stay up to like probably 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, something like that. So Monday through Friday, since I'm doing the show, I'm up at 9, 10 in the morning, right? That's early, I guess, for me. And then soccer on Saturdays, that's a 10 o'clock a.m. lock. Lineups come out at 9, so I'm typically up at 8, 8:30. So Sundays, I just want to sleep in. So sometimes I don't want to play the MLB DFS on Sundays. People judging me, I guess. I guess that's yesterday's slate. We got an early slate today, right? We got an early slate. We got some lineups out. Pirates, Brewers, White Sox, Guardians, Braves, Dodgers, Reds, Padres, and I got the Coors game. Yeah, I got the Phillies and the Rockies again. Uh-oh. And this is the White Sox Guardians is the first game of a doubleheader, but we got the lineups, I guess. We could take a look. Is there any weather issues? I don't think so. Winds in from the right. Yeah, but it's still Coors. Okay, so no weather issues. Right, we got some projections here. Maybe we'll make some lineups. We'll build some lineups. Do we got the stack projections up? We got the stack projections from the bat up. We'll go through. Let's see. Make some lineups. We got any? No, we don't. We got the total ownership over there. But I mean, we could go through this and just mentally go strategically how you should be thinking about slates for GPPs at least. Okay, so I'm going to reload these projections. I'm going to be using the bat projections and our Plate IQ ownership. We got a what? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-game slate. And from the looks of it, the Phillies, the Braves. The Braves are still underpriced the Braves. They're facing Tony Gonsolin. Like I can just press optimize and just go like, okay, what shows up? Atlanta, basically a 5-5 Atlanta, 3 Philly with Woodruff and Gore. Right? Because you have the $7,200 Mackenzie Gore against Cincinnati, who looks horrible. But based on the ownership, we may see a lot of Woodruff Bieber lineups. 10-8 and 9-7. 2 high-priced pitchers. If we do that, let's see what shows up. Okay, so basically we're getting Atlanta. We would play Abrams, assuming he's in the lineup for the Padres. Pham is still cheap at 2,600, right? So you're basically losing Castellanos, right? And then going down to Abrams here. So you're still pretty much getting Phillies, Braves, and then you can play Pham because you're not playing. I don't think there's any other Cincinnati bats that are owned, right? Take a look at the hitter projections, right? Pham, right? 35%. Farmer 14, because these are the weaker positions, Drury and Farmer, right? They're cheap and second base and shortstop. Okay. So we go team by team, like Pittsburgh, barely owned against Woodruff, right? Woodruff is going to be chalky. Ownership 1% owned. Yeah, they have a 3-team total. Then we have Milwaukee. Okay, well, Milwaukee's going to be owned, right? So we got Adames, Tellis, who's still just 3K. Yelich, Wong. Okay. So Milwaukee's going to be owned. Decent. Maybe not the highest owned. White Sox against Bieber. Yeah, not much ownership. Right, obviously. Cleveland against Keuchel. Really not much here, right? We got Ramirez, Ernie Clement, 2K, right? Second base, so weak position. Batting second. Miles Straw, right? Pretty cheap lineup, right? Some people not even projected yet, because the lineup just came out. Philadelphia. Okay, this is but it's like stack wise, this ownership isn't out of control. Like you got Harper, you got Real Muto, and then like it just drops off right now. Like where's like Schwarber? Unless the ownership is going to update. I'm expecting the Phillies to be much more owned than this. Right. And it's going to be primarily like if you're going to play a Philly stack, you're most likely going to be playing someone like Mackenzie Gore. You're not going to be able to play Woodruff plus Bieber plus 5-man Phillies. Right. Right. Here we go. Here's all the updates coming in. Colorado. Okay. Blackman, Bryant, because they're cheaper. Right. You could always fit in like a Rogers, Trejo, something like that in there. And we got Atlanta. Right, you can get Riley, Olsen, Albies, Ozone. I mean, take a look at these prices. I mean, Austin Riley, 3K. Olsen, 3,600. Albies, 38. Like they shouldn't be this cheap. Arzuna's 3K. They shouldn't have been that cheap against Bueller either. You go, okay, Gonsolin's not a bad pitcher, right? He's a pretty decent pitcher. Yeah, but these are much better hitters. Dodgers. Let's take a look at the Dodgers. Barely owned. Against Morton. They're a little bit expensive. And they're a comparable stack price to like the Phillies. They're more expensive than Milwaukee. They're comparable to the Rockies. So so maybe the Dodgers, right? I tried the Dodgers yesterday, and that didn't work out against Max Fried. Almost pitched the perfect game. Then you get Cincinnati, and you're pretty much other than Pham and some cheapies, they're barely owned against Gore. That'll be that's a chalky SP2 that you could attack. And then we got San Diego. Oh, wow. They made Grissom, Machado, Cronenworth, Abrams, assuming that this is the order. We can only go by the information we have right now. So what's the thinking? Like it's a 5-game slate. Okay. It's a 5-game slate. Now, as the slate gets smaller, like that's less likely that one team goes off for 7 million runs, right? Versus there's a 14-game slate, you have 28 opportunities for that to happen. So I'm not married to 5-man stacks. 4-3-1, 4-2-2. Correlation isn't as much of a priority. It should be one of your top priorities, but not, just play 5-man no matter what type of thing. Okay, so that's number one. From a leverage lever perspective, we got Woodruff and Bieber highly owned on DraftKings. We're obviously looking at DraftKings. So playing the Pirates or the White Sox would be the easiest places to get leverage. Okay. So if you wanted to play the Pirates 4-man or something, you don't even have to. I'm not even talking about playing 5 and 3 Pirates batters. If the Pirates do well, that means 55% of your opponents who have Woodruff in their lineup, because you wouldn't, are going down while you start going up more. Right? If you just don't play Woodruff and then you don't play Pirates, and Woodruff has a 15-point game, like you benefit by not having Woodruff. But if Woodruff has a subpar game, most likely that's correlated to Pittsburgh having a decent game. So I would be thinking about this slate of like Pittsburgh, White Sox, and possibly the Reds. If Mackenzie Gore at 7,200 is going to pick up steam as a SP2 option, maybe play Cincinnati. And this is just from the leverage level, right? The easiest way to first place, especially on a 5-game slate. So let's try that out. Let's try out the leverage lever first, okay? So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna build. Let's see. I'm gonna build kind of. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let's see. Let's do 4-3. Let's do 5x. Let's do 5-2. Okay, let's get a little bit more correlation. Let's like a 5-2, 4-3 type of lineup. And let's just do it with those. We set the unique players to 1. Just let's set it to 2. So we just had some different. We're just looking at lineups, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. So we want Pittsburgh. I'm going to set the secondary to be second, to be 0. You'll see why. So Cincinnati. So these would be like the leverage stacks. Just to take a look at them in Chicago. Okay. Now I set the secondary to 0 because I don't care what the other team is. Right. Like it's probably I'm not going to play Pittsburgh 4, White Sox 3, and then play neither of Woodruff and Bieber. Like that would be ultra leverage. That would be ultra leverage lineup. But I don't know if you have to go that far. The projections are going to be low enough that may be a little too low. So I don't mind like in a Woodruff lineup, I may have the White Sox, right? Because you don't play Bieber in that lineup. And in a Bieber lineup, you have the Pirates. And in a non-Gore lineup, right? In a Woodruff Bieber lineup, you would have the Reds in there, right? So that's the types of lineups I'm looking to see what they look like. Okay, so I'm gonna build 100 lines, just 100 lineups. Maybe not even. Let's go down to 50 for time purposes, right? We're seeing what these lineups look like if we just jammed the leverage lever. Let's go. Come on. Let's see what they look like. Okay, here we go. So here we go. Woodruff Bieber, Cincinnati, 5-man. You still play a pretty chalky Tommy Pham in there. You got Harper in there, Machado, Bieber and Wood. I mean, this lineup isn't all that contrarian because a lot of these would be the Braves. So instead of playing the Braves in this type of lineup, you'd be playing the Reds. As a stack, because you have Votto in there and you have Senzel in there at single digit, this wouldn't be that bad. I wouldn't mind this in smaller fields, single entry type of stuff. You play the 250+% owned pitchers. And the one-off, you're playing the most popular one-offs. Yeah, you could maybe in smaller field stuff. These aren't the types of lineups I like building. I don't like having chalky one-offs in my lineups in MLB DFS. I'd much rather switch that Harper out for Castellanos or something or whatever. Right, so because we haven't limited based on like ownership, right? The total ownership 299.9, 261.5. So let's see if we could find a lineup that's less chalky than this. Okay, so this is by fantasy points. So I'm just going to cut out lineups that are too high owned for their number, right? So there's 261.5, right? 281, that's too high. You have to be 261.5, 261.4, 232. Okay, now we're getting. Let's go down to 232. Okay, let's see what we have at 232. Similar type, yeah, here we go. So it's Castellanos instead of Harper and Muncy instead of Machado, right? We only gave up like a projection of like 2 points. Votto, Drury, Farmer, Senzel, Pham. You're still playing, yeah, because you're playing a low-owned stack type of thing, yeah, then you could play the 2 chalky pitchers, right, together. The 2 expensive chalky pitchers. You play Muncy in the lineup. Okay, so this isn't that bad. And you have Real Muto in there, so it's a 5-2-1. There you go. Here's Ryan McMahon, Bryce. Yeah, see, Bryce Harper's the one that's pushing up all that ownership, right? That's why I'm looking. Like, what these lineups are projected almost exactly the same, but one is way higher owned because of Bryce Harper. So let's see if we go down even further. 230. Let's see. Can we beat 230? Oh, 217. Oh, 185. Okay, let's look at 140. Well, now we're like, no, not sacrificing that many points. Okay, 140, 155, 140, let's see. Can we beat 140. Probably not. The pirate, I mean, once you put in pirates, then geez, no one has that. And more projection updates are coming in. 138. Yeah, this is where now garbage starts coming in, right? 1, 2. Okay, it's 4, 3, 1. Okay, we have, I want to say garbage, but like not 5-2 lineups. So you got 138. 138. Should we beat 138? Just eliminate some of these lineups. 104. Okay, that's not bad. 104. And now we're going way far down in projection. Let's get rid of some of these lineups at the bottom. Okay, let's close all updates. So I can see here, like this lineup for a Woodruff Bieber lineup ain't bad. You're basically stacking 5-man against Gore, who'll probably be around 30%. And obviously the least talented pitcher out of the bunch. Now for his price against the Reds, 7,200 is the best point per dollar value in the bat. But as far as real life pitch, I mean, Woodruff and Bieber are better pitchers. Someone got blown up today, and it's between Woodruff, Bieber, and Gore. You would be shocked if it was Gore out of the 3. So I don't mind this lineup. And it made such a big difference to not have Machado plus Harper. That Muncy plus Castellanos at 6.9 and 1.7% is better than 40% Harper and 35% Machado. Are Harper and Machado better raw point median plays? Yes. But the combination is only a 2-point difference. And it's Major League Baseball. They're going to get up 4, maybe 5 times. Anything could happen. So should the ownership difference be 75% combined to 8% combined? No, it shouldn't. Based on the just variance of Major League Baseball. So I don't mind this. And we look here and we get other, other types, very similar type of line, right? Woodruff Bieber. And instead of Castellanos, you get Hoskins. And instead of Muncy, you get Colin Moran. And you get Mookie Betts instead of, I mean, it's a 2v2 type of lineup. So this thing, if you prefer this one over that, well, okay, this is fine. Mookie Betts at 2% owned, I'll take it. Right? You could do this. See, I don't mind the 35% owned Tommy Pham in these lineups because I have Reds and I have other Reds. I not many people are going to have the Red stack. They may have Pham as a one-off, but not in the stack. Then we go down to the Pirates stuff, right? Like once you start jamming in Pirates, then ownership starts coming dramatically down. Right. So either of these 2 lineups are fine. Like look, and this lineup leaves 1,000 on the table. This lineup leaves 200 on the table. Like, I don't care. Leave 1,000 on the table. That's perfectly fine. It projects for 103.07. This is 103.27. 232 total ownership, 230 total ownership. These are fine. These are good lineups. For if you're jamming the leverage level, right? Because you're basically playing some team against one of the 3 chalkier pitchers on DraftKings, right? So let's say we save these, right? Save these. Then we go to here. So now we get into the Gore lineups, right? The lineups that either don't have Woodruff or don't have Bieber. So if you don't have Woodruff, you're going to be playing Pirates. Now the Pirates project low enough that you're probably not getting 5-man stacks, and right? Because probably getting 4-man, right? So you have here Gamel, a 5, 6, 7, 8 type of lineup, right? With Bieber, Gore, Ozuna at 14%. And here's Harper as a one-off. So I'm still not a huge fan of the one-off on Harper, but I based on look at this ownership, like you're fine. If you wanted to eat the 40% ownership on Harper and the 39% ownership on Real Muto, I think it's perfectly fine because now you're playing the Pirates against 50+% owned Woodruff. That's where you're looking to do most of your damage. And then you're just jamming in the best projected plays. And that's Ozuna, Harper, Real Muto, hot. There you go. Done. I don't mind this lineup. If you're going to play Harper, I'd still, even in this lineup, would rather play Castellanos over Harper to get even lower ownership, right? Because if we change this, to even Castellanos, we only sacrifice what, 1 point in projection. That's it. And we drop our ownership even more. So to me, the 1 point in projection isn't worth the 33 points in ownership, personally. So I'd rather leave 400 on the table and play Castellanos in this line. Right? Let's save that one. Right? Here's another one. Well, here's the Castellanos. Okay, I shouldn't have been talking. Right? Here's a 50,000 line. Like, yeah, let's see. This lineup projects for slightly better, right? Because this one has Cabrian Hayes in it instead of Josh Van Meter. And this has Adam Duvall instead of Marcelo Ozuna. I mean, both lineups are fine, right? If you were playing multiple lineups, I'd be like, this lineup's good, and this lineup's good also, right? But this one had the Castellanos in it with Duvall. Like, look at the ownership of this lineup. You're playing Bieber, you're playing Real Muto, and everything else is just it's a 5-game slate, and you're getting like nothing here. If Woodruff gets beaten up, like, you have a great chance of winning a GPP, because, like, look at this combination. That's all you need. You only need a couple of things to go right. That's how you should be viewing MLB DFS, not player by player based. Well, is Diego Castillo going to have a good game? Is Duvall versus Ozuna? I don't care. I have projections for that. But what do I need to happen? I need the Phillies to score a bunch of runs. I need Woodruff, the Pirates, to beat up on Woodruff enough that he isn't one of the top 2 optimal pitchers, and my 4-man stack could get there. Right? They don't have to put up 1,000,000 points, but they have to do decently enough, because no one, like 0, 1, nothing percent don't. And they're all together. Right? So that's my win condition. That's it. Right? Baseball lineups are correlated to each other. So you should be viewing it in terms of pieces. Stack 1, stack 2, pitcher 1, 1 off 1. I mean, like, that's it. But here we go with a White Sox, right? Because now the other way to go is going against Shane Bieber. So the leverage lever would you go, right? So in the Woodruff Gore lineups, you would have White Sox. So here's a White Sox lineup. Grandal, Mendick, Anderson, Robert. Then you play the Braves and Rhys Hoskins. Like, this isn't bad either. Right? Comparably owned, right? 151, I mean, this is very high owned. Only because you're playing the 2 chalk pitchers. This isn't bad either. Like, none of these lineups are bad. If you want to play any of these lineups in large field GPPs today on DraftKings for the early slate, go for it. They're all fine. And you could do 1v1. Oh, well, what happens if I play this and switch it? Yeah, that's fine also. Right? But I'm using the lineup builder just to see what these lineups look like. And then once I see what the lineups look like, I'm like, okay, I want more of them. Now you can make 100 of them. That's what the lineup builder is for. It's not to make the decisions for you. Big Hurt, 828 Flowers on FanDuel when playing single entry. What's the best approach to building lineups? Am I crazy for jamming cash lineups and switching players? Yeah, you're probably giving up some EV doing that. People are doing that in single entry. They're playing their cash lineups. With cash lineups, you don't care. You're looking to decrease the variance of your lineup, which means correlation decreased. Having less correlation decreases the variance of your lineups. You should be increasing. You're playing a GPP with a progressive payout structure. In small field single entry GPP, I almost exclusively play 5-3 lineups. Exclusively. If people are going to be playing their cash lineups in there, let me get 2 teams right, and I'll run, and I'll easily beat people. If I get 2 teams to put up 10+ runs, I win. Doesn't matter what you have anymore. Now you pick the right median batters. Who cares about medians in GPPs? If you're playing double ups, just play all the best players in one lineup. Who cares what team they're on? That's fine. Yesterday said he took the Valdez and stacked the Dodgers yesterday. Yeah, that didn't work out. I had some of those types of lineups also. Remember, baseball is a lot about failure. Okay, that's if you're playing GPPs and MLB DFS and not losing at least 90% of the time, you're playing bad. Okay, if you're not losing at least 90% of the time, I probably lose 95% of the time in MLB DFS. And usually at the end of the season, I have tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe not hundreds. So I don't like playing the 100K the first and 7K to, like set a stake knives for 10 type of thing. Well, I'll typically bink a 30K or a 20K, one or two of those a season. End up with, 30 to 50 grand worth of profit. And that's losing 95% of the time, right? It's not about winning more often. It's about winning more money over the course of a season. And that's how sharp players, like the ones that listen to this show, make money off of people like Big Hurt 828. So let's say we didn't stack those teams. Let's say we don't push the leverage lever, right? We just say no. I want to play the chalk. I don't want to stack against chalk pitchers, right? So then what do we do? Now we have to figure out like what stacks are overowned, underowned. I'm assuming Philadelphia is going to be overowned. Do we have the stack leverage stuff up? Yeah, we do. Okay. So this our stack leverage tool computes the smash percentage of a stack versus their ownership. Okay. So if we take a look at this includes all the even the late games and everything. So early, Milwaukee, we have the highest, right? Milwaukee, then Philadelphia, then Cincinnati, then San Diego. If we take a look at ownership, based on our current ownership, San Diego is overowned. You can see here just in the difference column, right? Green is good and red is bad, right? So it looks like San Diego's very overowned. Looks like Cincinnati is about efficiently owned. Philadelphia is a little overowned. Milwaukee is a little overowned. Colorado's a little overowned. Cleveland, underowned. Atlanta, a little overowned because of their pricing. Dodgers, heavily underowned. White Sox, heavily underowned against Bieber. Pittsburgh, a little bit underowned. They have the lowest chance against Woodruff. And all these are late games. So White Sox. So it looks like here the White Sox against Bieber seems like to be a better option than the Pirates against Woodruff, based on just our current ownership versus the smash percentage. It looks like the Dodgers are the most underowned for their ceiling, but the 9%, I mean, it's not high. So let's say we look at this and go, okay, well, based on this, maybe I don't mind playing Cincinnati. Maybe I don't mind as a stack. Maybe I don't mind the Dodgers and the White Sox. Dodgers, White Sox, Phillies here, right? Milwaukee's overowned. Maybe you could play some Philly. Right? I'm just looking around based on our numbers here. Oh, Cleveland. We also have Cleveland against Keuchel. Okay. So we're gonna attack the underowned teams. So that would be Cleveland. Let's just call it Cleveland, the Dodgers, and the White Sox. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did before. Cleveland, White Sox, and the Dodgers. And see what lineups come out. Okay. Right. We're still like 5-2, 4-3. We're still doing something. We could get away with 4-2s or whatever. I mean, if you want to drill down into stuff. But for ease, I'm just going to make 50 lineups like this. See what they look like. Okay, so let's see what these lineups look like. Okay, so we get Phillies in these lineups. Okay, so this is Cleveland against Keuchel. So you can get a lot of Brandon Woodruff and a lot of Shane Bieber. Well, not as much Shane Bieber, right? Yeah, because we have some White Sox against it, right? So here we go. This isn't bad. Still got that Harper one-off in there. I'm still not a big fan of the chalk one-offs. I don't mind Real Neato because he's in a catcher position. And that's a scarce position. Outfield not as scarce. Right? Okay, some more updates. But Connor Joe is not in the Colorado lineup today. Okay, so we're still getting tons of Phillies, right? Okay, that makes sense. But I don't mind it. Look, the ownership on the Cleveland they're under-owned. So I don't mind eating over-owned. This is what I mean by lineups, not players. Like, oh, can I play Bryce Harper today? Well, I can't tell you. I can't answer that question unless you tell me what your lineup is. It's like, well, I'm playing a Cleveland stack. It's like, okay, then you're fine, right? Bryce Harper is over-owned. JT Realmuto is over-owned. That doesn't mean you don't play them. They're still the highest projected players, right? It's just a matter of if you play them, you need to find leverage elsewhere, right? Me personally, I'd rather keep on finding leverage regardless because I'm not a big fan of playing 40% owned one-offs in baseball. Rather find even more. But you could, if you wanted to play this lineup, even with Bryce Harper, 40% one-off. He's in a 3-man. It's a 4-3-1 lineup. So okay. So it's a little bit better. But this is fine. But this highlights lineups, not players. Right? You're basically using your Guardian stack as leverage for the rest of your lineup. Right? So here's a Woodruff Gore lineup. Here's a Woodruff Bieber lineup. Right? Because Jose Ramirez could fit in here, can't fit in over here. You need Austin Riley over here. Total ownership, it's fine. You're fine. You're good. Right? And here's a Dodgers 1, 2, 3, 4. He's a 4-3-1 with the Dodgers. With Woodruff and Gore. Still that Harper one-off there. Right? Because you could play that Harper one-off in this type of lineup with 1%, 2% a 5-game slate. Right? Here's a very similar lineup to the one above, just with Castellanos in there, right? So obviously, I prefer this over the Harper lineup. So I think you're dropping a lot more ownership. Right here. Here's a 229 ownership at 106.42 at 229. And this is 105.86 at 196. So are you even giving up a point? You're not even giving up a point in projection, and you're dropping your ownership another 30 points now. So I prefer this one over that other one. They're both fine. You can play both of them if you want. All these lineups look pretty good, right? I could go through all of them and go, okay, this is fine. Right? Is this a little too high owned? No, this is fine. Like you're barely playing. You're playing Guardians, right? You're playing a Dodger stack no one's on with a Simon Mizziotti as a one-off. I mean, like, these are perfectly fine. Here's a Bieber lineup. And you're playing Justin Turner one-off. You still got Harper in there. Here's another Guardian stack. But here's one with both Woodruff and Bieber. A Guardian 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, you're playing Ozuna, and you're not playing Harper. You're still playing Realmuto and Hoskins. Like, this is fine. This is fine also. This works for me as well. Like, all of them work for me. This all makes only because why should it work for me? Why is it that all these lineups I'm going to go through, I'm going to go like, nope, I start jamming that in. And we could go through this. We could spend the next hour. I could go through thousands of lineups. I'll be like, okay, that's good. Why is that the case? Is it because the lineup builder told me these lineups are good? No, it's because I told it was good. Why is the ownership lower than the project? And I'm getting better projection for lower ownership. It's because I looked and saw, based on our projections, who is over-owned and who is under-owned. The 3 stacks that I chose are the ones that have the largest difference between the smash and their ownership. So obviously they're going to be projected higher than what their ownership is going to be based on what we currently have shown. Obviously ownership could update. We got new lineups in, right? Using the numbers that we currently have, right? You could turn into that. Oh, well, maybe now Atlanta starts coming down, and now they're under by a little bit. Or you have like Cincinnati here, who's not under-owned or not bad efficiently. You could play them. Or you could decide to like, okay, I'm going to play over-owned stacks and then just not play the pitches, play weird pitchers. You could do that also. But once you decide on what you're going to do, then all you're doing is putting it into the lineup builder. So every lineup, look, those are I went in with what types of lineups do I want? Here's the three most I could go in and I could add the leverage ones also, like we did before. Like if we want, let's say Pittsburgh, right? We got Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati, and we already have White Sox against Beaver, right? Let's say I want like some even keel type of thing, right? Just to take a look at some lineups, right? 20, 20, 20, right? 100%, right? We put a little buffer in there so we can make the lineups better, right? So put them all at 25. I could do that also, right? I've already decided. I've already looked. What do the lineups look like? What stacks do I want to play? They're under owned. Okay, if I play this is under owned, I know what types of lineups I'm going to get. And maybe looking in those lineups that I just built, maybe I'd like, well, nothing was higher than 230. So I'll cap that there, right? If I want more diversity, I'll add randomness or whatever. Like now I could worry about diversification here. I could build all the lineups at once. Or pick out lineups that I want. It depends. If you're picking out for 3 max single entry stuff, you could do it this way. Just pick out the lineups you want. If you're building 100 plus lineups, you could build 200 and weed it down. You could just build 100 at once. So here, even in this, we look how much Shane Bieber we're getting because I added so many of those red stacks to it. So I have to get rid of some of this Shane Bieber against the White Sox. We could also take a look at the stack summary, right? I was only getting 2 Chicago White Sox stacks, right? Barely getting any Chicago, getting way too much. Like maybe I don't want that many Cincinnati against Gore stacks. Maybe I don't want that many Pittsburgh against Woodruff stacks. So I curb it down. Maybe I only want to see some of it, right? 10%. Right. I want to get more against Beaver. And I bump that up to 35. I mean, it's already over 120, right? Right. I go down, maybe not as much Cincinnati. It's Cleveland. It's Keuchel. And then you see what lineups come out. I'm already envisioning what the lineups look like. We just went through them. And this is then you're coming up with the strategy before you touch and optimize. I know what these lineups should be looking like, right? Right. Woodruff Beaver. Here's there's four reds. No Gore in there. Right. Is Gritcher even in the lineup? I don't think so. Oh yeah, he is in the lineup. Obviously, I didn't update any of the projections or anything. You start to see these lineups. You could even go in the stack summary and go, okay, let me take a look at the White Sox stacks. Right? What combos do I have? Cleveland, Philadelphia. I got a lot of those. Right? So here's the White Sox Braves. We looked at a very similar lineup before. Right? Woodruff Gore and a 4-3-1. Woodruff Gore and a 4-3-1. Woodruff Gore and right. There you go. And you got a Harper. You could play Harper because you don't mind that ownership now. Because you're playing a lower owned stack against a chalky pitcher like Bieber. But you could decide to say, I'll sacrifice the point and play Castellanos instead, play some other outfielder. You can. Right, but that's why the ownership goes down dramatically from like 184 to 152. Because you're not playing Harper in these lineups. So maybe you decide, like, I want to be that low, 152, 171. Right, you look down in these, you look like in the non-Harper lineup, his 182. Maybe you set it down. It's like I want to find the lineups that are even lower than that, 180, and then you build. Like this builder is scrolling is that there's no what numbers do I use? There's no correct answer. It's what lineups are you making, and what can you change here to start getting more of the lineups that you want to play because you've already decided beforehand. That's the key. That is the number one key. Strategizing on a slate and go, what types of lineups do I want to build? Well, naturally, you'd want to build lineups that have a higher projection and as high of a projection you can, but as low of an ownership you can. That concept exists in every sport. Okay. Now, how do you build those lineups? By playing more of the under-owned players and less of the over-owned players. Okay. You play less of the over-owned stacks and more of the under-owned stacks. Well, you just go to a page that'll show you what the percentage versus the ownership is. And you go, okay, I'm going to play more of that. This isn't complicated. This really isn't complicated. You get all the information. We do all the work for you. You sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, click on that link in the description, get $10 off your first month. You get the projections, you get the starting lineups page, the weather breakdown, the stack projections, the team smash percentage and stack values. You get Cheese's $1 Million Musings. You get everything you could possibly look at, and then all you're doing is, okay, I want to play these 4 teams, right? And then I want to play these 3 pitchers, and then you make the combos, and there you go. It's not complicated. Well, do I play the shortstop? Like, you're thinking too much. Dude, did I go through any of this and go, well, do I play Jake Berger instead of, I don't care. The names don't matter to me. I just see 4 White Sox in this line. I don't know. It's the highest projected for this combination. So yeah, whatever. I don't care. Well, you're playing a 1-hitter and then a 6-hitter, and then I don't care. It doesn't matter. Are they all on the same team? Yes, that's all that matters to me. Am I a big fan of playing chalky one-offs? No. Doesn't matter if Bryce Harper is, oh, well, against this pitcher, he's $7 million for $7 million and 1, and he's hit 600 million home runs. Or what? It doesn't matter to me. 40% on batter, just throw him out. Doesn't mean you play none of them. I mean, if you want, I mean, he's perfectly fine to play in these types of lineups. He's perfectly fine. I'd rather just not play a one-off that's 40% owned. I'd rather get even lower ownership. That's it. And you could build, you know how many lineups you could build like this? Thousands upon thousands of lineups. Thousands. We could spend all day. We could end up with 5,000, 8,000 lineups that I would look at. And you would say, is this a good lineup for this? This is a 5-game slate. It's a 5-game slate. And I go, okay, that's probably plus EV. Oh, that one's probably plus EV. Oh, that's probably plus EV. And keep on going. And then you're going to be like, well, I'm only playing 20. Which 20 should I play? It's like, whatever 20 we want. Whatever 20 you want out of these 8,000. Perfectly fine. Well, do I want to play them all this? And now you're talking, once you start talking about which 20 out of the 8,000 do you play, now that's just diversification. Now that's just a risk tolerance thing. Right? Obviously, if you're playing pirate stacks against Woodruff, like, those are going to be higher variance lineups. Right? If you that leverage lever, if you're jamming that up, that's going to be higher variance. Most likely, those teams don't do well. When they do, you get paid way too much for what they do because they're 1% off. So you're gonna have a lot of 19 out of 20 days, you're gonna be in last place. And 1 out of 20 days, maybe you win the whole thing. Right? Those are those types of lineups. Do you want to play 20 of those types of lineups? You could. Just don't complain when all 20 of your lineups are dead. Right? And if you do that every day, you're gonna have a lot of dead. And at one point, you're gonna win 50,000. Who knows when? And hopefully you survive until then. But maybe you want to be a little bit, maybe your risk tolerance is a little bit lower. So you're gonna be a little bit more diversified, right? So it's like, instead of playing 20 pirate stacks, I'm gonna play 2 pirate stacks, but I'm also gonna play 4 White Sox stacks, but I'm also gonna play some of the Braves. Maybe you play a Philly stack even with Harper in it. You go, okay. So now your lineups now your 20 lineups could be, you have multiple shots, right? So you put in your $80, and a lot of times you'll get back $60. So even on a losing day, if you play 20 Pirates lineups, you could put in 80 and get back 0. I'm talking about for like the 4-seamer, like a 20 max type of contest. That's all risk tolerance. That's all. The EV of the lineups don't change. If you have to choose between 8,000 lineups, 20 of them, and where the EV is not that much different between them, pick whichever way you want. Close your eyes and pick out of a hat. Doesn't matter. Okay, so got the early slate. I'm not even sure because I've gone through it. I'm going to have to build some lineups, right? I wasn't necessarily planning on playing the early slate, but I guess I'm going to be playing White Sox against Bieber. That's what it looks like. The Guardians, maybe. I'll put together some lineups. Because I don't want to go through all this and be like, oh my God, Bieber got killed, right? Or the Pirates that destroyed Woodruff or something, and it's like, yeah, I could have played one of each of those lineups and probably won a lot of money, but I just decided not to. I just decided to go through it all on the show and then not actually put in these lineups. Also, because the projections make sure. I mean, like, dude, I could reload this, and all the ownership has changed. So, like, maybe none of this is. I would have to look and go, okay, maybe the White Sox aren't overowned anymore, or aren't underowned anymore. Maybe this. That's what I'm saying. I'm showing you the process, like the numbers and everything. That's the main reason why you're building lineups before like an hour before lock. Before lineups come out, before umpires, before weather, before any, like, dude, you could wait. You could do this all do this 30 to 45 minutes before lock. And I'm not narrating my entire thing. I could do this all in a couple of minutes. Jacqueline Menzies in baseball is building by fantasy points or ceiling more optimal. No. Doesn't matter because stacks are more important. That's correct. Calvin Legrone asks how many I'm assuming how many players are usually in your player pool for the 20 entry mass contest. That would be a very stupid question. It doesn't matter. That number means nothing. How many players in your player pool? 8 million, 8. Doesn't matter. You're asking the wrong questions. And no, in baseball, building my median fantasy points in a game where one swing of the bat is a difference of 14, could be 14 fantasy points. Okay? So understand that. Understand if let's say we're going to put in right here, what's the optimal, right? If we did the knapsack problem, 112.14. Okay, this lineup, which I don't know how much correlation it has. It all has a bunch of Braves in it. Okay, 112.14. A lineup that is at 98 fantasy points median. This lineup right here. Look, right here. It's right next to it. The difference between these two lineups is one swing of the bat. That's it. That's the only difference. Now, in basketball, 14 points is much higher. You need to do a lot more things to make up 14 points. There's no 14-point shot in NBA. In baseball, there is. One Tim Anderson swing could make up more than that because you have multiple socks. Right? If Tim Anderson gets on base, let's say Tim Anderson gets on first, so that's 3 points, and then steals second, so he gets 5, that's 7. Then Lewis Robert hits a home run. Okay? So Tim Anderson gets 2 points for the run, so now he's up to 9. And Lewis Robert gets 16, right? So that's 25 points. Like, barely has anything has happened in the game. It's the first inning of the game. You've already made up 25 points. Okay? So if you're caring that much about median projection, like, I need to really fine-tune that median projection. Like, dude, you could make up 50 points. When you're stacking a team, you can make up 50 points in a span of 4 at-bats, 5 at-bats. Now, if this lineup projects at 112 and you're playing a lineup that's like 78, as long as you're getting sufficient enough ownership drop on it, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, but it's 35 points below. So you have 5 guys from a team that no one's playing. So, those in an inning, ding, 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 and that team scores 12 runs, making up 35 points is nothing. They're all correlated to each other. So, so like the median projection doesn't really matter that much. Pitchers, a little bit more so. Is the team under or over owned for their ceiling? That's it. That's all that matters to me. And then when it comes to the team, it's just the team. Sure, would I love the 5 best batters from a team? Yeah, sure, of course. But We live in the world of a salary cap. That's what I use the projection. That's now that's how the lineups are being built from the projection. Like, I want these two teams together with these two pitchers, and how do I make this happen? Well, it means you can't play this guy and you got to play this. Oh, I don't care. As long as it's 5 from this and 3 from the other, I don't care. Yeah, but you want to play the 9th hitter? I don't give a crap. Is it 5 guys from one team and 3 guys from the other? Okay, then I'm fine. Right? I don't care who it is. So no. I say this every day. People vastly, and when I mean vastly, I mean absurdly, vastly overthink MLB DFS. Absurdly. You should be able to show up to a slate without ever looking at it. Literally, you don't have no idea what's going on tonight at 7 o'clock. Try it out. 7 o'clock slate tonight. Don't look at it. Don't look at the slate. Enter contest just to make sure that you're in there, right? But don't look at the slate. You don't know who's pitching. You don't know who's hitting. You don't know nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Show up 10 minutes before lock. I would have said 5, but 10. Give you a little bit more time. 10 minutes before lock. If you cannot make a competitively plus EV lineup in 10 minutes, then you're vastly overthinking it. Vastly. I could legitimately go to this page and build lineups immediately and go, okay, based on this, who's under and over owned? It's like, okay, well, it looks like Cleveland, looks like White Sox, it looks like Dodgers. Now, if I had a little bit more time, I'd get into a little bit more nuances and suck out a little bit more EV. Yeah. The whole thing with the Harper, right? Do I want to play a 40% on one-off? I'd rather gain some more expected value by not doing that. Yeah. But you don't even need to do that. It's like, well, what teams are under-owned? We'll play those teams. Well, what stack configuration? Whatever you want. 4-5, 4-3. Most likely, if you just defaulted to 5X, you're fine. Okay, that's fine also. Even if it's on a 5-game slate versus who cares? You got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to build lineups. So you look here, you go, okay, these 3 teams are under-owned. I'm going to go, I need to build 3 lineups. So I'm going to build one lineup with a 5-man stack of each of those teams. And you go in, and you build a 5-man stack of each of those teams, or whatever fits in the projections, and there you go. You're done. You are done. You have spent 45 seconds to build lineups. Right? I could legitimately, right? Let's reset all of this. Reset all of it. Where do I reset? Come on, go to build rules. Reset all MLB settings. Okay. First, the projections get updated now. Okay. Go to the bat projections. Where am I going? Get out of here. Okay. So you should be able to do that. Like what I just did, right? So you go here. It's the early. Okay, this isn't even the early slide. Got to bring it to the early slide. Right. So this is the default. You just show up to lineup HQ. You have the bat projections on, right? You go, okay, what 3 teams are under on? You want to build, literally build 3 lineups, right? So you got to build rule, right? Number of the lineups to produce 3, number of unique players. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're building 3 different stacks, so it's the unique players. Whatever, none of this, whatever the default is, doesn't matter, right? So you go, okay, what do I want? I want 5X, right? Just by default, it doesn't matter, right? By default, I want Chicago White Sox 33. I want Los Angeles 33, and I want, what was the other one? That was under Cleveland. There you go. You go. I want basically. I'm just one of each line. There you go. And then it's gonna. I should get one stack summary, one of each. There you go. So here's one lineup. You got Harper in there. Of course, you got Harper in there. This one doesn't have Harper, right? And there you go. These 3, you could play these 3 lineups. They're fine. They're done. You go. Put them in. You're done. How long did that take? How long did that take? That took less than a minute to do. Took less than a minute. to look on the stack for the top stack projection page and go, who's under-owned, and then go, okay, I want those teams. Right? Now, if you want to go in and go, okay, well, I'd rather not have Harper, and then you could tweak stuff if you want. But these three lineups would be fine. If I looked at all three lineups, I go, okay, that's I would think they're plus EV. Yeah, there you go. Done. That's it. That's MLB DFS. I've shown that's it. How many players in your player pool? Did I do anything with the player pool? No, nothing. I didn't touch anything. Right? Do you have a gap between your stack? No, I don't care about any of that. Right? There's nothing to care about. You want what teams are going to put up 8+ runs today? You want as 2 of those teams in your lineup. There you're done. And the pitchers that do well enough. And there you go. You're done. You're done. That's it. That's MLB DFS. That's it. How many of these types of lineups can I build out of these 3? Like here's a Dodgers 5-man. Well, there's so many 2v2s that I could not have Bieber. I could Woodruff there and then upgrade this. And you know how many of those? There's probably 700 of these types of lineups. Which one out of 700 do you play? Whichever one, close your eyes and throw it, whatever. This is the highest projected one of them. But probably the difference between 0.2 and projection is going to be 5 different 2v2s. So there's a multitude of ways you could build the same similar type. Well, instead of Clement, I have this. And instead of Bieber, I have Woodruff. And instead of this, I have... Well, ultimately, you're playing teams. You're playing pitchers and teams. And that's it. You could show for slate with the tools that we have at RotoGrinders and build lineups in less than a minute that I would look at and go, they're competitively plus EV. Maybe are they the highest expected value lineups? Maybe not. But are they profitable lineups? I would say yes. Most likely. And you go, I don't want to play 5-man. I want to play 4-3-1. So build 3-4-3-1 lineups. It's probably fine too. Right? But that's the main reason why I like the questions of like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do like wildly overthinking? Wildly. I mean, you're so far away. You're so far away. It's like, you know, like you're trying to like, the goal is to open the refrigerator door. And what you're doing is you've just now bought a supercomputer to calculate and with moon rocks, because now you're going up to space to try to determine the exact amount of power to use when you pull on that refrigerator door. And like you're doing, and you're consulting 12 different PhDs from around the world on, and what I'm saying is just go up to the door and pull on it. That's it. Just go up to the door and pull on it. Well, if you pull, what happens if I pull it a little too hard? Well, are you likely going to pull it hard enough that you're going to pull the door off the refrigerator? Probably not. And probably are you going to go and you're going to see that going using your little pinky and going like this is not enough, right? You know that, right? So it's somewhere in between. So then pull on the door. Well, how hard should I pull on the door? Until it opens. That's it. Yeah, but do I like that? That's what I see with MLB DFS. Right. And that's why we get more like I don't understand this. I don't understand questions like this. This is what gets me annoyed. Like Stephen L. Brickman, thoughts on consecutive order players and stacks, or does it matter? Like I just don't like these are the types of things that I just don't I can't understand in just human behavior. Like, Stephen, did you literally just show up? Like, did you literally just show? Like, if he literally just clicked on the video and typed in that question immediately, that's about the only way that I could forgive him from understanding how a human being could act. I literally talked for 10 minutes on this. So, like, I don't understand how I could put out the same content 7 million times. And people watch and then don't listen. I don't get it. That's the thing that baffles me the most about DFS. That is the one thing that I'll never solve. I'll never solve whatsoever. I've answered this tons of times. This is what I legitimately don't get. I've answered this question tons of times. People have asked me, said, I found your content and it seems much more helpful than a lot of other content, right? I've been playing DFS for X amount of time. What would you suggest I watch of yours and listen to of yours if I want to get good at DFS? And my answer is always all of it. And they go, well, you don't have any special episodes? I go, no, all of it. And I go, okay, well, I'll get your course for $15. I'll go, okay, that's not all. And I go, well, what should I watch? You should watch the DFS pregame show. And I'll go, oh, okay, I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it tomorrow. I said, no, you should watch all of them. I go, I've done probably, I don't know, 200, 300 of these. I don't know. Been going on for over 2 years. So you should watch all of them. Start at the beginning. I put out other YouTube videos. I put out 73 different podcasts. There's probably, I would say, more 1,000, 2,000 hours worth of content I've done. And what I would suggest, legitimately, is to watch all of it. And people act, they look at me virtually and go, you really expect me to watch 2,000 hours of content? And I look at them and I go, that's what I would do. That's what I did. That is what I would do, right? When I started playing DFS, I watched everything. And a lot of times I would spend 16 hours a day watching and reading content. Not slate-based content, not who's going to do well today content. I'm talking about, I was watching when I was starting to play NBA basketball. I got into in 2017. I never played NBA, right? I haven't followed the league in 15 years. So you know what I did? I watched Grinders Live episodes from a year ago, right? I was looking for specific people, Jonathan Bales, like people that dealt with the game theory and I watched all of it. As long as they were on the show, I would watch. It would be a slate from 3 years ago. And they're spending an hour talking about a slate from 3 years ago with names I've never heard of before. But just to figure out like what are the strategies here? And then then the next show, and then the next show. And I'm watching shows from 3 years ago, episodes of interviews and episodes of podcasts from 3 years, all of it. Read books, the entire RotoGrinders forums. Now that they're gone, but there were strategy threads there. There was some strategy threads that were the size of books, probably 76 pages long. And you know what I did? I read it all. Now, which one did you read? Like, there wasn't one that I read. I read all of them. Like, not one, all of them. Literally all of them. Right? And day after day, like, well, what contest did you study? All of the contests. Like, when I was playing soccer DFS, I just had Saramek on my podcast. I downloaded the CSV every contest. How long would you study the CSV? All day? I mean, all day. Like, not how much time. It's how much. What time are you not doing it? Like, that's the thing that I don't understand. I know this is like a rant, right? Like the stuff with Results DB. Like what I show you in Results DB is like an overview. I've weeded out so much stuff from studying that they're only very, very like I understand the game well enough that I could just look through some of this stuff and look up. I'm interested in what this person did and why these lineups were this way. And I'll drill down every once in a while, but I could usually get a broad picture view of like, did I fuck up anywhere? Did anyone do something weird? Like, I'm used to it because I'm 7 years into playing DFS. So I know what matters and what doesn't matter that much. And I also know the styles of players and everything, but I still study every morning, right? That's the whole purpose of this show, is that I'm always reviewing the slate yesterday anyway. A lot of times I'm reviewing the slate while it's happening, right? I'm looking, something is weird. I go, why is this team only 8% owned? I thought they were going to be 15% owned. And now for the next hour, I'm clicking through and I'm downloading something going like why they overowned? What, and looking around, figuring out where I made a mistake. Did anyone else capitalize on a mistake? Or did everyone make the same mistake? Sometimes that happens. Sometimes everyone makes this. Everyone thinks some team is going to be much higher owned than they are, or much lower owned than they are. I go around, I go, no, it looks like everyone. It was a byproduct of everyone thinking the same thing. Okay, so it's not that it's a anti-competitive mistake. Okay, I get that. But you know how you learn how to do all that type of stuff? By doing it. By doing it all. Right. Right. Money making Mike says that's the point. People don't realize the work you put in. They just think you have the magic key and you can just hand it over. But it's not even the magic. Like once you get the fact that I could show up 5 minutes before a slate and build good lineups is not, because I spent 5 hours trying to build the lineup. I mean, you start from a point where you're spending so much time learning the concepts that you start weeding out the stuff that this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, and you quickly go through it. Poker's very similar. Well, I learned how to play poker. You know how I learned to play poker? By reading everything. You go, well, what books did you read? I read all of them. Right? There's like that's to me, that's the thing. What can I do to become a better DFS player? Everything. I say take a statistics class. Right? You can go on Khan Academy. There's plenty of free statistics and probability classes with lessons and homework, right? And calculations and everything. You can learn a lot of the concepts that would do you really immensely better in DFS, right? And then once you learn that, you'll be like, oh, well, I could do some of that maybe, and you come up with some interesting ways to streamline your workflow, and that may involve like Excel. And you're like, well, I don't really use Excel. Well, then there are Excel classes online for free. Right? Take Excel classes. You could learn Python or R if you want to get a little bit more advanced. You could do some of that. Like, I don't understand what else you would be doing. Because watching the games doesn't do you any good. So the point is, how do you get better? By doing everything. Right? What should I listen to? Everything. From a teaching standpoint, not a who's going to do well today. Reading 400 articles today on why Bryce Harper is a good play, that's not going to teach you how to play DFS. Learn the statistical and probabilistic concepts, the game theory of DFS. I mean, that's why I put together a 15-hour course. The course could be 150 hours. But no one's going to buy a 150-hour course. I'm not going to talk for 100. I normally talk for 150 hours. So you go to theoryofdfs.com. All of the concepts in here I talk about on the DFS pregame show. If you were to watch 500 hours of the DFS pregame show, you would get everything that's in this course. So you wouldn't have to pay $125 for it. But do you want to spend 500 hours watching the show? No. 15 hours of audio. But you know what would be better? Listen to the 15 hours of audio and then we'll start from the beginning, go through 500 hours of content. And then you'll see, but in the 500 hours, you'll get to hour 8 and go like, isn't this what he just talked about 6 hours ago? And then you'll get to the next day and you'll, didn't he talk about like, and you can just start to see that after 500 hours, it's like, oh my God, you've had to explain the same concept 84 times. You get it, right? And then you start acting like me. Then you look and you go, why are people asking these questions over and over? So Money Making Mike says it's why you can do these videos and never seriously have to worry about losing your edge. It's exactly money. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. People ask me, they go, I'm 100% transparent. I show my rotor tracker. I show my entire process. I show everything. I show my results. I show my profit. I show everything. They go, well, you're showing us everything. You know, aren't you afraid that you're giving up your edge? I go, no, because no one does it. Because no one actually, just for a small fraction of people actually do it, right? Or they can't execute, they can't implement. They could be like, oh, well, I get these concepts, and then it's like, okay, well, then show up a half an hour before a slate and build good lineups, and they're like, you can't do it in real time, in real practice, right? It's like I ain't gonna be there to hold your hand to build lineups a half an hour before lock. You know why? Because I'm building my lineups. But that's the thing that I don't understand. If you can't get better at this unless you're put in the time, and I'm not talking about the time to study if Alex Boehm's launch angles in Colorado. I'm not talking about that. Talking about statistical, probabilistic, game theory, mathematical concepts. The concepts of playing DFS. So once you have the concepts of playing DFS, you'll find out that most of the stuff that you're looking at are like, well, Kyle Schwarber versus lefties, and if he's 8 for 4, none of that stuff even matters, right? Or if it matters, you could sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, right? Click on that link in the description, get $10 off your first month, and it does all that work for you, right? So it's like as long as I have the bat projections and ownership and stack percentages, like I'm done. Like all that work is done for me already. It's a matter of looking at that and going, who's under-owned, who's over-owned, how do I build these lineups together? That's it. Done. Right? What kind for the field sizes that I'm in, for the contest, the opponents that I'm against, right? And then how much diversification I want between my 100 lineups. And that's it. There you go. You can learn that all. You can learn it all. So just watch and when you watch all the videos, hit the thumb button, right? Even on the past videos, why not? Give me those thumbs on your way out the door. We got Grinders Live later today, right? We got Grinders Live for basketball. We had hockey is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think. We got hockey stuff going on. We got live locks on the Scores and Odds channel. We got tons of stuff. Programming note: there's no show tomorrow. So this show, we're done. Not forever. I got a dentist appointment tomorrow, and my dentist closes at like 2:00, and there's no way for me to ever make an appointment that doesn't involve me having to miss this show. So no show tomorrow. I will be back on Friday, and I'll have my MMA shop. Hopefully these we'll get pricing on these replacement fighters and whatever. So I should have my MMA stuff up for Friday. We won't just do MMA. It'll be everything. It'll be baseball mostly. But for the MMA people from last week, because remember last week they added a fight, and then the ownership was all screwed up because no one calculated those 2 extra fighters into the ownership. So I couldn't have the sheet ready. So you'll get that on Friday, hopefully, if DraftKings adds the fighters. But I will be back on Friday answering your DFS strategy questions as always on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.